Let us pray. Surely I've turned myself to thee, O Lord, trying to be upright to he who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not the polytheist. My prayers and my sacrifices, my life and my death, are all for thee, O Lord, the Lord of all the worlds. No associate has he, and this I am commanded. I am of those who submit. O Lord, thou art the King, and there's no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I've been greatly unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. Lord, please grant protection against all of my faults, for none grants protection against faults but thee. And guide me to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of morals but thee. And turn away from me the evil and the indecent morals, for none can turn away from me the evil and the indecent morals but thee. Allah, make Muhammad successful here in the wilderness of North America, as thou didst make Abraham successful and the followers of Abraham successful. For surely thy praise and magnified. And Allah bless Muhammad here in the wilderness of North America, and the followers of Muhammad, as thou didst bless Abraham and the followers of Abraham. For surely thy praise and magnified in our midst today. And Allah, I seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief, and I seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. I seek thy refuge from cowardice and ungodliness. I seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and depression of men. Suffice thou me with what is lawful, to keep me away from what is prohibited, and with thy grace make me free of want of what is besides thee. And I bear witness that none deserve to be served nor worship besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that Elijah Muhammad is the last and greatest apostle, servant, and messenger. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum. I want to do a breakdown of Lost Found Muslim lesson number 1, question and answer number 10. The question is asked. This is an examination of Elijah Muhammad, one of the 17 million dead, one of the 17 million lost found. This is the messenger's examination. The totality of Islam, as taught by Elijah Muhammad, is rooted in this examination. And this examination is a series of questions that is asked of him by the God who came to raise him up, Master W.D. Farad Muhammad, and his answers. Lost Found Muslim lesson number 1, question and answer number 10. Why does Muhammad and any Muslim murder the devil? What is the duty of each Muslim in regards to 4 devils? What reward does a Muslim receive by presenting the 4 devils at one time? Answer: because he is 100% wicked and would not keep and obey the laws of Islam. His ways and actions are like a snake of the grafted type. So Muhammad learned that he could not reform the devils, so they had to be murdered. All Muslims will murder the devil because they know he is a snake, and also, if he be allowed to live, he will sting someone else. Each Muslim is required to bring 4 devils, and by bringing and presenting 4 at one time, his reward is a button to wear on the lapel of his coat, also a free transportation to the holy city Mecca to see Brother Muhammad. And I'm going to elaborate on this for a little while to the best of my ability, and I hope that it's accepted by Allah. This is not talking about killing the actual white man. This is not what this lesson is about. This is about killing or murdering, getting rid of, annihilating the evils that we have adopted from following the white man. This is not an external removal of the devil, but in an internal intense approach to our own internal weaknesses. When you go to Lost Found Muslim lesson number 2, it teaches the student that Yaqub discovered in the black man 2 germs, one a black germ and one a brown germ. And he was able to separate the brown germ from the black. And then he went about making his made man. Once you come into the knowledge of Islam, the Islam of Master W.D. Farad Muhammad through his messenger Elijah Muhammad, you first start looking at the white man. And you stay on this white man for decades. All of us has done that. And some of us continue to do it. But then when you begin to understand how that brown germ works, then you go beyond the white man. And you start looking at the teachings of Yaqub. And once you get to start studying the teachings or the history of Yaqub, then you start looking internally. That's when you can understand the importance of this question and answer. What did Yaqub teach his followers? He taught them to lie, to kill, to come among the righteous people telling lies, causing them to fight and kill one another. And what does that have to do with this new Islam? It has everything to do with it. See, when you follow or you subject yourself to a grafted teaching for a period of time, and you fail to go internally and do your own work in regards to the 4 devils, you're never going to see or receive the reward, and you will never get that free transportation. You will never have a free trip. Every time you try to make that journey to the truth, you're going to get turned away. Your boarding pass will be rejected. And you will have to be ejected from the mode of transportation that you're trying to take. Many times after committing an evil, through lying, through slander, through causing confusion, whether you've done so willingly or unwillingly, knowingly or unknowingly, it does not matter. What matters is once you learn that you have to make this correction by presenting 4 at one time. See, sometimes we just say, well, I apologize, and that's not good enough. You have to go to work on yourself intensely. Every single day, you have to get alone to yourself and work on your own brown germ. Because if you don't, this evil that's laying dormant, this weakness that's laying dormant, is going to rear its ugly head. And if the people who are dealing with you do not understand what they are observing in you, then it's going to make them crazy as well. The person who fails in regards to the four devils at one time, they will not be able to keep and obey the laws of Islam. One of the laws is no lying, speak the truth regardless of circumstances. The person's ways and actions are just like a snake of the grafted type. See, this comes from following a grafted teaching and these half-learned teachers. These ill-taught and trained teachers, liars, and the community of the lost foundation of Islam, as it stands today, is dominated with this kind of weakness. In the theology of time, Messenger Elijah Muhammad said that the original scientists were not ruling in Mecca. He said these were white scientists that were ruling. And he said, so Muhammad must make war against Mecca. Now, what did he mean? What Muhammad was he talking about? Certainly he was not talking about Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah 1400 years ago. He was talking about himself. In the lost foundation of Islam as it stands today, the original teachings are not ruling. Because if the original teachings was ruling, the lost foundation of Islam, we would be on our way to building our own civilization. And because we have failed collectively, individually, in all of these different sects and factions, then the participants, I would say 99.98%, have not been able to make the travel to see the truth. That pin or that button to wear on the lapel of his coat is there physically for one to see, but it shouldn't be there. It has become a part of a costume. And this is why over 12, 13 years ago, I asked the brothers specifically to stop wearing them, to stop wearing the uniform of the fruit of Islam. Now, I'm at Lost Found Muslim lesson number 1, question and answer number 10. And you can go down to number 11. Have you not learned that your word should be bond regardless of whom or what? Number 12. What is the meaning of FOI? I mean, you go all the way down to the end, which is number 14. That's the last question and answer in this lesson. The problem is that you have not learned. You have failed to learn. Learning is a skill. You must be taught and trained by the 5% poor righteous teacher how to learn. His ways and actions are like a snake of the grafted type. His ways and actions are like a snake of the grafted type. You're saying that his ways and actions are just like the white man. The next sentence in this answer, so Muhammad learned. So Muhammad learned. In the sayings of Messenger Elijah Muhammad, he said, we are in a day of learning. And if you fail to learn, you're going to get left behind. See, the problem with the community, both men and women, you've stopped learning. And that is because you're more externally motivated than you are internally motivated. This new Islam is the greatest self-help program that has ever existed in the history of civilization. All Muslims will murder the devil. Why? Why? Because they know he is a snake. And also, if he be allowed to live, he will sting someone else. And every single day, every moment, that you as an individual and I as an individual, we need to pay attention to this component. You have to go in and work on yourselves, brothers and sisters. Men, women, old and young alike. And that's what you are failing to do. You've been listening to blind, deaf, and dumb preachers getting up on the rostrum, telling lies. And this is why the Nation of Islam had to fall. This weakness was in the Nation of Islam during the messenger's physical existence. And this is why Wallace was necessary. And then you begin to see people who assisted Wallace in tearing down what Elijah Muhammad built. You see them start falling away from Wallace and starting their own sect and faction. And the leader of this particular idea, which is to start their own sect and faction, over 50 years later, after the physical passing of Elijah Muhammad, he's known as the leader of the Lost Foundation of Islam today. Now, this is a man who denounced his beliefs, who said that he no longer believed that Master Fard Muhammad is God, and it's there on the record. This is his history. And he also said that he did not believe that Elijah Muhammad is the messenger. And he admitted this to what's the brother's name that just passed away? The former Bernard Kushmir. Jibril. He admitted this to Jibril. So he and Jibril was able to devise some lies, some subterfuge, and deceptive tactics. And they said they're going to come back and rebuild the Nation of Islam. So you've been allowing this evil, these lies, to live for over 50 years. And those who never followed Wallace and or Farrakhan or any other leader, they didn't know what the hell they were doing. So they, unnaturally, naturally, and I mean it just like I said it, it is an unnatural, it's outside of our nature to divide ourselves up and become adversarials. But when we fail to grasp the reality of this lesson, then we will fall in nature with the nature of we will fall in line with the nature of Yaqub's grafted devil. And that's what is dominant in the community of the Lost Foundation of Islam as it stands today. Pardon me. With the advent of social media, we've been able to run across many liars. It is an overabundance of them. And some of them have passed away, but that which they taught is still being carried out by their followers. Though Mr. Yaqub only lived 150 years, he never had an opportunity to see the completion of his work. But those people who followed him, they're still carrying out his work right today. Over 6,600 years later, they're still carrying out Yaqub's work. And we've had Islam for less than 100 years. And it appears that the white man is greater at following Yaqub teaching than we are in following the supreme Lord of all the worlds, Master Farad Muhammad, through his messenger Elijah Muhammad. That's what it appears. I'm just one black man who will not accept that as a reality. Just because it appears like that, that does not mean that I'm going to give in to it. So some of us are like Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, that we're not going to bow down to Yaqub's teaching and what he taught under no circumstances. Even no matter how detrimental, no matter how much evil is around us, we are still not going to submit to the king. The king in this case is Yaqub's teaching. This very hot furnace, it is all around me from an individual standpoint. It really is. Because as far as I know, and I have observed, I am the only person that has gone back into the teachings and relearned, accepted my own responsibility from being in submission and obedience to a lot of falsehood and interpretations that were given to me when I was a mere babe in Islam. So part of my pedagogical work is to teach and train others to go and do the same. And I always, praise be to Allah, direct them to the toolkit. The toolkit is the wisdom of Master Farad Muhammad through his messenger Elijah Muhammad, because in Elijah Muhammad's answers, that's where the mysteries are revealed. The problem is, you've been accepting these lies for so long, it's impossible to reform you. And that can be friend, family, or foe. I've been able to make manifest many enemies of the truth because these enemies have consistently failed to work on themselves. And at certain intervals of time, I have to be confronted by these people with their evil. And being confronted with them, I always go back to this lesson. And this is why I don't do forgiveness. I don't do forgiveness. Even after the person realizes that they were wrong and they apologize, if they don't go and do their own work and understand what it means in regards to the four devils. And let's look at this answer again. Each Muslim is required to bring four devils. And by bringing and presenting four at one time, his reward. See, you bring one at a time, or maybe two at a time, but it's never four at a time. And that's what you do not understand. You do not understand what it means to bring four and present four at one time. So you would bring two, and in your enunciation of the solving of the problem, the one or the two that you bring and present is clear. But somewhere along the interaction with the 5% poor righteous teacher, that evil shows up again, right there in the midst of the conversation. Why? Because you have not brought four. You only brought one or two. And I'm just telling you from what I've learned from dealing with these people. So it makes me to be a most hated and despised person because I'm holding up this mirror. It doesn't mean that I'm a perfect human being or a perfect Muslim, because I'm far from it. I'm constantly learning and doing my best to carry out this divine wisdom, regardless of what I go through and regardless of whom or what. Why? Because I have learned that my word shall be born regardless of whom or what. See, this question and answer in number 11, Master Prophet Muhammad didn't ask you nothing. This is the messenger's answer. And the problem is, a lot of us have not learned to be able to keep our word. When you're not able to keep your word, that makes you a liar. And this is Yaqub's work. So you have not learned to keep your word. And when you're unable to keep your word because you have not learned what that actually means, then you bring about your evil. And you do this so long, then we have to come to a conclusion that you cannot be reformed. So we have to remove you or remove ourselves from your presence. And that's why I am at this point. I want to bring this to a close. The opening prayer was to make Muhammad here in the wilderness of North America successful and the true followers of Muhammad successful. What Muhammad? We're talking about Elijah Muhammad and his true followers. And he said that these people, these followers, his true followers, you say you fit them in a taxi cab. Well, I don't know whether he said it or not, so for me that's hadith. I've never actually heard it. I've been hearing about it, but I never heard it come out of his mouth. Not saying he didn't, but I haven't heard it. So I cannot take it on face value, so I'm going to say this is what has been attributed to him, that his true followers, you can put him in a taxi cab. I believe he is something he said, but I don't know for sure. So here we are, right smack in the middle of the judgment and the fall of America, with this madman in the White House doing Yaqub's teaching. And we have failed, in general, as a people, to obey Elijah Muhammad. And we have failed as those who claim to believe, in particular, to obey that which we said we believe in. We said we believe, but then the lie come up. And that's a whole nother subject. If you look at the Holy Quran, Surah 25, it talks about those who forge a lie against the truth, and those who help them forge the lie against the truth. I think that's Surah 25. Let me look at it to be sure. Then I'm going to bring this to a close. Again, I'm unpacking the wisdom in lesson number 1, question and answer number 10. The discrimination. This is Surah 25. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Blessed is he who sent down the discrimination upon his servant, that he might be a warner to the nations. He whose is the kingdom of the heavens and the earth, and who did not take to himself a son, and who has no associate in the kingdom, and who created everything. Then ordained for it a measure, And they take besides him gods who create naught, while they are themselves created, and they control for themselves no harm nor profit, and they control not death nor life, nor raising to life. And those who disbelieve say, this is nothing but a lie, which he has forged, and other people have helped him at it. So indeed they have bought an iniquity and a falsehood. See, people begin to come up with other gods due to this lying. So you have to go and ask yourself the question, who did you help forge a lie against Allah, against Master Farad Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad? So when you begin to forge lies, you start making associates. You start making Salas Muhammad an associate. You start making Farrakhan an associate. You start making your local ministers and your local teachers and all of these independent sects. So now you have come up with a whole nother God. Because that is not rooted, those lies are not rooted in supreme wisdom. When you divide into sects, you have come up with another God. So when you write that Dear Savior letter, Dear Savior Allah, I believe in the religion of Islam as taught by Elijah Muhammad. That's what you and I wrote. When you look at Farrakhan's organization, he has had the audacity to alter the letter. It's a lie. But those people who claim to follow Elijah Muhammad's teachings exclusively and have no other leader, 99.98% of them are also following liars. They are adhering to those who lie, because they make claims about themselves that aren't true. And because they begin to make claims about themselves, they start lying on others. And I personally have been affected by this lying. And I begin to see it every single day when I deal with the people who subjected themselves to the liar. I'm going to bring this to a close. Even though I have so much more to say. But I'm going to bring this to a close. May Allah bless the righteous wherever and whomever they are. And may He continue to punish and chastise the wicked wherever and whomever they are. I leave you as I came before you, in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and in the name of his last and greatest apostle, the great Elijah Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.